Inside a microchip is a nanoscopic computing city. It is a grid of skyscrapers hundreds of layers tall, connected by hundreds of kilometers of wires, and built on a foundation of billions of transistors. This chart shows the pattern that drove the tech industry for 50 years, Moore's law. By shrinking transistors, engineers reduced the distance signals had to travel, allowing them to double computing power every 2 years. Named for Intel co-founder Gordon Moore, who spotted the pattern in 1965, this singular rhythm became the primary driver of modern technological progress. Everything from consumer smartphones to advanced AI is economically chained to this requirement. To keep getting better, the transistors must keep getting smaller. In 2015, that progress hit a physical brick wall. Chip gaps became smaller than the 193 nanometer light used to carve them. The tool was now wider than the lines. The solution, extreme ultraviolet light, or EUV. At just 13.5 nanometers, it could print features previously out of reach. But EUV is notoriously difficult to handle. It doesn't naturally exist on Earth. It is completely absorbed by the air in a room, and it is even absorbed by the glass lenses meant to focus it. Because the physics were so hostile, almost every major corporation and lab eventually abandoned the research. This left a single company in a small town in the Netherlands to risk its future on making the technology work. Since EUV light isn't found in nature, ASML had to build an artificial sun inside a vacuum chamber. The process starts with microscopic droplets of molten tin, each about the size of a white blood cell, shot through the chamber at 250 kilometers per hour. To maximize light, a laser hits each droplet twice. The first, weaker pulse flattens the tin into a pancake shape. A second, powerful pulse vaporizes it into a plasma, burning at 220,000 Kelvin, 40 times hotter than the sun, finally releasing EUV light. To make this work at a commercial scale, the machine must execute this explosive sequence 50,000 times every second without missing a single shot. But creating the light is only half the problem. Every explosion creates tin debris that threatens to coat and ruin the machine's internal components. Vaporizing tin creates debris. If a few nanometers land on the mirrors, they can't reflect light. The solution is blasting hurricane-force hydrogen gas through the chamber at 360 kilometers per hour, intercepting the tin and sweeping it away before touching the optics. The gas pressure must be tuned to a razor's edge. Too little hydrogen fails to clean the mirrors. Too much hydrogen absorbs the light and causes the entire system to overheat. Mastering this flow rate meant the machine could finally run continuously, moving the technology from a laboratory experiment into a functional factory tool. Focusing EUV requires a different kind of optic. Since glass absorbs this light, ASML uses specialized multi-layered mirrors to bounce the beam toward the wafer. These mirrors are polished to an extreme degree. If one were scaled up to the size of the Earth, the largest bump would be no thicker than a playing card. Robotic sensors adjust these mirrors with a precision measured in picoradians. It is the equivalent of aiming a laser from Earth to hit a specific side of a dime sitting on the moon. Without this level of precision, the EUV light would scatter randomly and the microchips would fail to print. Inside the final machine, mechanical parts whip around at 20 Gs to align chip layers with an accuracy of just 5 silicon atoms. Because ASML is the only company that can maintain this level of precision at scale, they now hold a complete global monopoly. Today, every advanced smartphone and AI processor on the planet is made using this specific hardware. But 30 years ago, the experts were convinced this would never work. When Hiro Kinoshita showed his first EUV images in 1986, his peers refused to believe him, dismissing the results as a big fish story. A year later, when Andy Hauerluck proposed a commercial version of the tech, he was literally laughed off the conference stage. Even as late as 2012, researchers at ASML were called crazy for doubling down on the next generation of EUV before the first version had even produced a working chip. They ignored the consensus and invested billions into a technology that the rest of the industry had branded a failure. The modern digital age was not inevitable. It was built by these few unreasonable engineers who faced decades of technical failure and academic ridicule, but refused to accept that the physics were impossible.